All right. 4.1, pre-scheduled speaker, Funburry Music Festival.
That would be me.
All right, Bill.
I
Step up to the plate,
I'm
Bill.
actually not, giving a presentation per se. I sent in my permit request. I provided a presentation, and at the last meeting a couple weeks ago, I provided a layout so you could get a sense of the area of the park that would be used. And the event would impact about 5 soccer fields. But so what I think today is more, we were not able to ask questions for any clarification or anything like that. And that is why I'm here for the most part, is to answer any questions that anyone might have about any questions, concerns, things that weren't clear. That is why I'm here. Fortunately, Tom could not be here today. As he's an advocate for this project, and he's been kind of working on a little bit of things and trying to help me navigate some things. But I should be able to answer those questions.
Any questions for Bill?
Yeah, I have several questions.
Sure.
My understanding is we're talking about 80,000 total people over a 4-day span, 20,000 a day. That's the number I'm hearing? Is that an accurate number?
Could be. I would, the first day there's no music. The fourth, that would be load in for campers. The next 3 days you'd probably see anywhere from 10 to 20,000 people a day. It's hard to estimate on a first year festival, but based on what we would spend on our lineup, it could be anywhere between those two figures. 20,000 would be an excellent sellout type of event.
Sure, okay. So what happens with weather? It rains.
Yep.
We are all soccer fields down there.
Yes.
I can't imagine, and we don't have enough parking obviously to handle 20,000 people that are coming in with their cars on asphalt. We barely have enough parking to handle our weekend soccer's schedule that we have down there. So we would be parking people onto other soccer fields, not just the soccer fields you're talking about.
No, there's no place to park on the grass at Clear Creek. I'm not going to use any of that space.
So where are you going to park?
Well, I really can't disclose that or discuss that because until the park says
Understand.
yes.
So are you talking about the potential that you would be busing people in and using an outside parking location to bring people to the site?
There are a few solutions, yes, and that's one of them.
Okay.
Correct.
No, I'm just asking.
Yes.
You say ask questions, so I'm just trying to see how you, and I don't care where that happens to be, that could be Lunken Airport as far as I'm concerned, or Lunken Park or whatever.
Right.
But I just don't see how we can park
No.
legitimately all those people down there, and you're saying that you're not planning that?
No, sir.
Okay, so damage to the soccer fields, and excuse me for my ignorance, but I've not seen the total proposal. If it rains,
Yes.
we have 20,000 people walking across our soccer fields, which is going to cause extensive damage to the soccer fields, because if it's muddy, it's going to cause a problem. What happens then?
Well, I would disagree with extensive damage, as I've done multiple festivals downtown at Renaissance Park, and we've had rain. And at Renaissance Park, for our Bellwether Festival, we had massive rain. And it does not do the damage. I provided some images from my one proposed what Funburry, what sort of Point Eagles Cove looked like after we had our festival, which had rain. So you are going to have some grass that's damaged. It can be repaired. There's about a 6-week period when I'm proposing the festival for the soccer season. That's usually what the park board would spend on bringing back the grass. But we also use a lot of, you may have seen this, like if you saw a concert down at FC Cincinnati, the way they protect that field is they have those large plastic, it's like a floating system that they put out to protect high traffic areas. Most of the damage occurs probably about 40 yards away from the stage, where most people congregate. A lot of other traffic, it's moving in and out, they're moving to other stages, they go to the bathroom, they go, but that's where most of the damage is concentrated. So that's usually what it looks like. And that is why I proposed there would be an escrow account with money put in it to do repairs, and then of course there's all the stuff that we do to just try to protect the grass where we can. Like putting those platforms in place and not putting a lot of I mean, I personally don't want to have certain things. We'd be using those paved areas as opposed to setting it
Sure.
in grass to minimize that damage.
What about, and I don't mean this in a rude way to
Sure.
people that would be attending,
Yeah.
but how are we managing crowd control situations with alcohol, drugs, that kind of a thing? Obviously, this is our park and we want to protect it from any problems, any issues,
Mhm.
fights, problems, people overdosing, anything like that. How do you guys manage that?
Okay, and we have an excellent track record on this. And I think if you spoke with Cincinnati Police and Fire and EMTs, they would tell you that we do a great job at this. And never had a problem with the state of Ohio and our permitting and serving alcohol. We use all the best practices. The event is totally fenced off, for one thing. There are multiple levels of security. We would be hiring detail, sheriff's department, we'd have detail. Believe it or not, for Funburry, there were only 16 officers at the site. But we have now our own security companies that will come in to secure the site. And then we have what we call T-shirt security, which are people that are not armed, who are backstage and stuff like that. The people at the front of the stage with the big arms and yellow shirts. And so we have all these levels of security. We've never had a major incident at these festivals. This is not, the music that we program is all alternative rock, pop, and country in those kind of genres. So we don't usually have any problems with fights breaking out. We've never had anyone overdose in an event. So we do everything in place like a large bar might, for instance, or restaurant. We ID everybody. There's a limit to only, 2 drinks, like anything you've seen at the Reds or Bengals game. We follow all those protocols. People coming into the gate, everyone goes through metal detectors. If we get anything, we wand them. So it's a controlled environment. And when you insure an event like this, there's so many outside parties. Ohio Department, on liquor. I mean, my insurance company. Everyone wants to see a certain level of professionalism and our bases covered because nobody wants any of that garbage. I don't want that in my event either.
Oh, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So just getting back to the traffic.
Sure.
32 is just a 2-lane road there.
Yes.
And, my problem is I just don't see how logistics work with getting those people in and out of there and not compromising the traffic patterns through Newtown. And does Newtown itself support the effort on this? I mean, obviously, we're looking at the property, but how does Newtown and their police department and fire department feel about this? Because they'd be the ones kind of on call.
I don't really have that complete answer. I know that Tom has talked with some people that he knows with Newtown.
Okay.
And this is the process. I need a yes from you first, and then I have to go to the next solutions, which is ingress, egress, parking. And then water, power, there's all these things that I have to continue to work through. And then I have to understand if we're busing, for instance, and how many buses do we need? And I have to look at all these costs and my budget. Does everything continue to make sense? Now, we do have a sense of a traffic plan that we would use. The early part of the festival, it's not like everybody comes at once. It's a building of the crowd, over time. So I'm not worried as much about traffic at that point. It's the out.
Right.
So from 9:30 to 11:30, for 2 hours, you would have traffic. But you would have traffic just like you have at Riverbend or like you have at a Bengals game. Yes,
Sure.
There will be traffic, but you can mitigate it to some extent. But it's late at night too. I mean, at 9:30 to 10:30, 32 and by Clear Creek is really not that busy.
I would agree with that. I live in the area.
So yes, there is and I personally think it would be a combination of at 9:30 like closures, except for through traffic, and it would just be out. Just getting everybody out, heading in either direction on 32, either heading to 275 or heading towards the Beach One levee.
So when you say you need a yes from us, to me that means a soft yes. What does that mean? Like, we're interested, go forward with your next whatever?
Yes.
Okay.
It's yes, Bill, if you can solve all these issues. And then, by the way, after I do all this work, and let's say I figure it all out, then I have to go to my investor group and say, all right, guys, I think I found my location. This is how it's going to be done. This is how it's going to impact my budget. This is what we think the return will be. What do you think? They might be like, we don't like this. I mean, I could get stuck there too. There's so many levels to this. But I don't want to head down this road, and do a lot of this work and not have a venue. Then I'm in trouble, right? So the difference in with Funburry at Sawyer Point and Yeaton's Cove, as long as I took out the permit because there's a precedence for events, and I met the criteria, I got the park. And then every year thereafter, I had a period to say, yes, I want it, because I was now a legacy event. So that's how it works there. With Bellwether, it was private property, so we knew that we had it secured, So it just depends on, this is a kind of a different circumstance because it is a public park, but your rentals, and even on the form, it's obvious it's about soccer games.
Right.
And other smaller uses.
Sure.
So it's getting a yes, but contingent upon,
Correct. I understand.
But I do think in what little work I've done, because I don't want to spend a lot of time pursuing things and having conversations with others until I know. I feel it's solvable. I feel that every problem can be solved. But
I appreciate it.
yeah, sure thing.
Anyone else?
I have some
Sure.
stickies on on the documents we have from you.
Sure.
There is, pardon me, under liability insurance, just in case y'all haven't read this, there is liability insurance, proof of insurance is required. And then it says limits of liability to be determined by Anderson Park District. Is that true? I mean, we determine what the limits of the liability are for the insurance?
Well, most properties are going to say it's into like a 1 to 5 million range, depending.
Okay.
And I forget what, honestly, the city of Cincinnati had for sort of what Yeaton's Cove, like, I just don't recall. So usually a facility is going to have some type of,
Like a standard?
correct,
Okay.
correct. That's what I typically see, 1 to 5 million based on various factors.
I know in some conversations that Amy and Mike and I had, we talked about hold harmless release indemnification. That is also in the agreement that you signed.
Mhm.
Okay. Field repairs is a big one, I think for all of us, and it is for me as well. In the agreement, or I guess it's really not an agreement, it is called a special event request form.
Yes.
In the special event request form, it says field repair, and under that, it says only individuals with current APD field repair certification are permitted to work on APD fields. So that means if you leave, it's us that have to repair the fields. Would you agree with Mike?
It would be up to us, depending on, to make the repairs. We would definitely want to be part of that process if the board would go that direction.
Which leads to another conversation that Amy and Mike and I had, which is this isn't just regular grass, it's sports grass, which I don't really even know what that means. So it's a special grass for soccer players. And somewhere further back, maybe in this document, the Clear Creek Park sample layout document, it says that you should have the area blocked to minimal use for 6 weeks to allow germination. So I don't know if that's reasonable for sports grass to get the fields ready. Is 6 weeks a reasonable amount for germination? That's the first question. And the second question is, it seems a small amount to me to designate $25,000 for field repair. That just seems like not a lot of money to me. So those are the two questions. Is 6 weeks enough to get our grass going, and is $25,000 enough? And if it's not, I feel like we should have more money to be able to do that.
It's to the extent of the repairs that you might be able to get something that looks green, but to actually play sports on, it takes quite a few months to unless you're going to completely saw it back. And even then, it would take quite a few weeks for it to heal in, for it to be playable. So earlier, he said it would be about 6 weeks. Actually, it's about 3 weeks until after his last date of when he would be coming up. I think it's the 22nd. About 3 weeks later, we're laying out fields. People are starting to practice. Goals are getting put out. All those things.
And $25,000 doesn't seem like a whole lot, Bill.
Okay.
I mean,
That was based on what Cincinnati Parks used to spend
Okay.
to do
So,
repairs.
so you know, we just this spring in fertilizer and our fertilizer had crabgrass control just like your house would, and the grub control because we've had some grub problems. We spent about $23,000 just in one fertilization application this spring. So
At Clear Creek
I
specifically.
yeah.
If it was required, that would be something to negotiate. If you thought it required more money to repair, that could be talked about, that could be discussed. That was just a proposal.
okay. And is the camping a must? And I get that they're gonna they would park in the back
Yes,
where it's a must.
it's not a must.
Okay,
It's optional.
so that's an optional thing too. And if you didn't understand where that is, it's like in the back on the right-hand side, right?
Correct.
Okay, like in the back.
We call it the one side, it's a storage site.
Right,
Kind
okay.
of like where the motocross, the moto field is gonna be, behind that.
Behind the bike pump track.
Got it, yeah.
And if, as I said, I did not know that in 3 weeks people will be using the fields for other things. I don't know if 5 fields can be out of commission for a little while, or if sod had to be the alternative to germination, that was, this is all the kind of thing, the back and forth and understanding. If it's like, Bill, you've got to sod it, okay, well then let's determine how much area that is, and then once again, then I have to sit there and go, what does that cost? Do I put down, it might be cheaper for me to rent more of the floating platforms, to put 50 feet out from my stages, or at least like to the mixed position, to protect the grass, that's an option.
Don't the floating stages though also kill the grass? They just kill it in a different way?
Well,
I mean, people tromping on it is if you have something not in the sun for, I don't know,
3
2
days.
weeks. Oh,
in other words, they would
Only 3
Depends on
days.
how long he puts them out for.
Yeah,
yeah, only 3 days.
And all that.
3
Yeah.
days it would recover pretty fast.
okay.
So that it would have to be, well, Bill, we need you to sod. Okay, then what about if I protect it? Because that might be, I already have it in my budget of renting, it's probably gonna cost me $100,000 just to buy the platform.
Sliders.
I think that's all I have for right now. Yeah, because you asked all my questions.
Right.
Thank you.
I just want to clarify, you keep saying that you only need 5 fields,
Yes.
but then you're saying also that you're gonna use the paved areas for like deliveries and heavy things to keep it
Yes.
off the grass.
Yes.
So just thinking about that, we're not gonna be able to use our parking lot during this time either. So it's, even though you're just using 5 fields, we also aren't going to be able to use the other soccer fields for any soccer. We're not gonna be able to
Well, I'm
rent those out.
technically renting the whole thing,
Oh, you're renting the whole
renting the
park.
entire park,
The entire
but the area that we would use for the event would be,
Okay,
it's kind of limited to that area.
okay.
Your park would be taken out of commission. Like you
Yeah.
you couldn't have
Right,
people
we
trying
couldn't
to
use it,
park
yeah.
at your game. So my
Yeah.
proposal was to rent the entire thing.
You want, Kevin?
Good, thank you.
Well, Bill, thank you for the additional information.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
We
Appreciate your
can,
answers.
we'll contact you through Mike and
Okay.
let you know how to head.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.